Hi, kindergarten, and welcome back to the next part of Lulu Walks the Dogs by Judith Viorst and illustrator Lane Smith. When we left, we were taking a time out. I can tell you already have questions for me, and I think I know what they are, so why don't we take a time out and get them over with? Wonder if your questions match these questions. Shouldn't Lulu's mom and her dad stop her from trying to walk 3 dogs at once? Answer is, they should, but they won't. Lulu is hard to stop. I have to say I agree with that. Question, what happened to Fleshman? Didn't you say he'd be hanging around a lot? Answer, I did and he will be. Don't be in such a rush. Question, how come Mr. and Mrs. have all that junk piled up on their porch? Answer beats me. I've been wondering the same exact thing. Question, what is it Lulu wants to buy with all this money she's earning? Answer, I really don't feel like discussing that right now. So chapter 8. Oh, we got further than we thought. Okay. On Sunday night before bedtime, Lulu carefully set the alarm clock for 6:25. She picked out the clothes she wanted to wear so she wouldn't have to think about them in the morning. She tracked down her disappeared sneakers and carefully placed them next to her bed so she wouldn't have to go looking for them in the morning. She even, to save a few seconds, squeezed some toothpaste onto her toothbrush so she wouldn't have to squeeze toothpaste in the morning. She figured that she could be dressed, washed and toothbrushed in 3 minutes and 15 seconds on Monday morning, which would leave her 45 seconds to eat some cold cereal and 1 whole minute to run to Brutus's house. Lulu was feeling extremely pleased with her plan. So after saying goodnight to her mom and her dad and her pet goldfish and the photos of Mr. B that hung up on her wall, she sang herself to sleep with a money song. Danny, Donnie, Dustin, Dave, how much money will I save? Ava, Amy, and Annette, how much money will I get? Money, 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 money. Lulu expected to have some merry money dreams that night, but instead she dreamed all night about, guess who? Fleshman. He was standing outside her door and shaking his head and saying over and over again, 3 dogs you're walking, mistake, big mistake. Chapter 9. Lulu woke up at 6:25 and for the first 5 minutes, her plan worked perfectly. Dressed and washed and toothrushed in exactly 3 minutes and 15 seconds. Check. Ate a bowl of cereal in precisely 45 seconds. Check. Arrived at Brutus's house in 1 minute flat and rang the doorbell at 6:30 sharp. Check and double check, and for good measure, check again. This girl was golden. Brutus was happy to see her, so happy he knocked her flat on the rug, slobbered all over her face, and thumped his tail. Brutus's owner was proud. Is the hat cute or what? Lulu, who most definitely did not think it was cute, replied, it's what? And then she stood up, wiped off, attached the leash to Brutus's collar, and she was running a little bit late, was out the door, heading to Pookie's house. I mean, she was trying to head to Pookie's house. Brutus was heading in a different direction. She pulled, he pulled. She pulled, he pulled. She pulled, he pulled harder, making Lulu bang into a tree, which gave her, along with a bump on her knee, an idea. She began to wrap the long leash around the trunk of the tree, wrapping it so tightly around and around and around the trunk that Brutus, 2 houses down, couldn't pull her any more or go any farther. Dog and girl had stopped moving, and across the space between them, they were glaring at each other most ferociously. We're doing it my way, Brutus, Lulu announced in her bossiest voice. That won't happen, came the instant reply. But in case you're thinking that Brutus was speaking, You can think again. That voice Lulu heard belonged, big surprise, to Fleshman. Just the person she didn't want to see. You're just the person I didn't want to see, said Lulu. Dog biscuits, Fleshman mysteriously replied. Dog biscuits yourself, said Lulu, and went back to staring ferociously at Brutus. Girl and dog still standing. Still. Girl under a tree, holding on to one end of the leash, and dog 2 houses down, attached to the other end, in a situation grown-ups call an impasse. A complicated word that means neither one's going to do what the other one wants him to do. If you want Brutus to walk with you nicely to Pookie's house, said Fleshman, you need a dog biscuit trail for him to follow. And since I'm thinking you don't have any dog biscuits in your pockets, we'll use mine. He's got dog biscuits in his pocket? Fleshman walked over to Brutus and dropped a biscuit in front of his nose, which Brutus gladly and instantly gulped down. Then Fleshman turned around and walked back to Lulu, dropping biscuit after biscuit on the ground, creating a tasty dog biscuit trail that Brutus eagerly followed, gulping down biscuits. Soon thereafter, Fleshman and Brutus were standing next to Lulu under the tree. And now, if you'll just unwind the leash from that tree trunk, Fleshman told Lulu, we can get going. Lulu, with Brutus on the leash and Fleshman walking ahead of them dropping biscuits, arrived without further fuss at Pookie's house. Lulu waited for Fleshman to leave. He didn't. Instead, he said, if you let me hold Brutus's leash while you go inside and pick up Pookie, we'll save some time. We're not saving time, said Lulu. I am saving time. So wait out here with Brutus if you want to, but I'm warning you, Fleshman, don't get any ideas. I'm not getting any ideas, said Fleshman. I'm just happy to help. Happy and pleased and proud and delighted and honored and... Quiet, Fleshman, said Lulu in a voice that could shut up a city. And stop being so happy. Chapter 10. Lulu was out of Pookie's house in 20 seconds flat, promising Pookie's mommy that she would be careful not to hurt the fuzzball's feelings. Holding Pookie with one of her hands and Brutus's leash with the other, Lulu was hurrying over to Cordelia's when Pookie finally opened her eyes and wiggled, and then kind of squeaked, and then wiggled and squeaked some more. Lulu understood that this was Pookie's way of saying it was time to do what she was supposed to do, which meant that Lulu needed to stop immediately and set down Pookie underneath a tree, which she did, and then said in a not-too-patient voice, okay, let's get this over with. Do what you're supposed to do right now. She won't if you talk like that, said a voice that belonged, do I have to tell you? To Fleshman. She needs to be coaxed. I'm not a person who coaxes, Lulu told Fleshman. Then bending down, she repeated, Pookie, right now. Except that when she spoke, instead of the pook rhyming with Duke, Lulu forgot and rhymed it with, book, which turned out to be a mistake. A big mistake. Pookie, not pokey book. Pokey. I can't even say it right that way. Yelping, leaped up in the air, and instead of falling back down again, she attached herself by her teeth to Lulu's jean jacket. Lulu tried pulling her off. Pookie hung on. Lulu tried pushing her off. Pookie hung on. Lulu tried shaking her off, but that once lazy fuzzball wouldn't let go, hanging on by her teeth and somehow yelping at the same time, which isn't that easy. Sounds like a problem. All of a sudden, out of the blue, Lulu began to hear music. What was this music? Where was it coming from? Well, what do you know? There was Fleshman, who had taken his flute from his backpack and was tootling tunes into Pookie's ear. Fleshman! Yelled Lulu, still pulling and pushing and trying to shake off Pookie. Cut out the concert! This isn't a concert, said Fleshman. This is coaxing. Lulu watched with amazement as the yelping Pookie stopped yelping and hanging on by her teeth to Lulu's jacket. Instead, while Fleshman kept playing, Pookie let herself drop to the ground where, quietly squatting under the big leafy tree, she quickly did what she was supposed to do. Why is everyone saying that Pookie did what she was supposed to do? From now on, I'm just going to say pooped. Fleshman whipped out a pooper scooper, cleaned up the little mess, picked up Pookie, and handed her to Lulu. Don't thank me, he told her, even though Lulu hadn't said a word. Actually, I should be thanking you. I should be thanking you for letting me. I don't want to hear it, Fleshman, roared Lulu. I really, really, really don't want to hear it. Now, out of my way. I'm seriously behind schedule. Time out. I just this minute realized, even though I've already told you that Brutus is a great big bad breath brute and that Pookie is a tiny lazy white fuzzball, I haven't yet said that, along with loving to hide, Cordelia is a long, low, short-legged, hot dog-looking dog whose animal name starts with D, except I can't remember what comes after the D. Oh, and one more thing about Cordelia. She is very, very, very vain. Means she likes to look at herself. All right, see you back here tomorrow for the next part of Lulu and Lulu walking the dogs. Bye.